The Zephyrian fleet materialized at the edge of the Kepler 442b system with the silent grace of apex predators. Admiral Kethvar's mandibles clicked in satisfaction as his tactical display illuminated the human colony below, a modest settlement of perhaps 50,000 souls, defended by nothing more than a handful of civilian patrol craft and outdated orbital platforms. Pathetic, he hissed, his reptilian features twisting with disdain. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered 17 star systems in the past decade, and each victory had been easier than the last. These humans, with their soft flesh and brief lifespans, would be no different. The colony of New Harmony had been established only 30 years prior, a testament to humanity's naive optimism. They had chosen this world for its breathable atmosphere and abundant resources, never considering that such prizes might attract less benevolent attention. The colonists were farmers, engineers, teachers, peaceful people who had fled Earth's overcrowded cities to build something better among the stars. Commander Sarah Chen stood in the colony's modest command center, watching the alien fleet deploy with growing dread. Her background was in agricultural systems, not military strategy. But as the elected colonial administrator, the burden of defense fell to her shoulders. "How many ships?" she asked, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her chest. 67 heavy cruisers, Admiral," her communications officer replied, his young face pale. "They're demanding our immediate surrender." Chen closed her eyes briefly. The colony's defenses were laughable against such a force. 3 aging defense platforms and a handful of mining vessels hastily retrofitted with civilian-grade pulse weapons. They might as well throw rocks at a hurricane. "Send a priority transmission to Earth," she ordered. "Tell them we're under attack," but she paused, knowing the mathematics of interstellar communication. Even at quantum entanglement speeds, her message would take hours to reach Earth, and any response would come far too late. The Zephyrian bombardment began at dawn. Precise, calculated, strikes eliminated the orbital platforms within minutes. The colony's shields flickered and died under the sustained assault. Buildings crumbled, and civilians fled to emergency shelters carved deep into the planet's bedrock. Shelters that, unknown to both human and alien alike, held secrets from humanity's darker past. Admiral Kethvar watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. His species had evolved from pack hunters, and the thrill of conquest still sang in their genetic memory. These humans would serve well as slaves in the Empire's mining operations, once their spirit was properly broken. But, as Zephyrian ground forces began their descent, something unexpected happened. The quantum entanglement beacon that Earth had installed in every human colony, ostensibly for communication, began broadcasting a different kind of signal, a signal that hadn't been activated in over 2 centuries. On Earth, in a bunker buried beneath the Swiss Alps, ancient servers hummed to life. The Human Defense Network, a relic from the species' most violent era, received the colony's distress call and cross-referenced it with threat assessment protocols. The analysis was swift and merciless. Human civilians under alien attack. Response: total. 300 light-years away in the depths of space between star systems, something stirred. The von Neumann constructors had been drifting in the cosmic dark for 2 centuries, their mission parameters locked in hibernation mode since the end of humanity's last great war. They were relics of a time when humans had nearly destroyed themselves, weapons so terrible that their very existence had horrified their creators into lasting peace. But peace, the ancient programmers had known, was a luxury that required guardians. The signal reached the nearest constructor swarm within hours. Massive automated factories, each the size of a small moon, began their deadly work. Matter streams flowed as raw materials were harvested from asteroids and processed with ruthless efficiency. The machines had been designed during humanity's darkest hour, when survival meant creating weapons that could level worlds. On Kepler 442b, the Zephyrian occupation proceeded according to plan. Humans were herded into processing centers, their leaders interrogated for useful intelligence. Admiral Kethvar established his headquarters in the colony's former government building, already planning the strip mining operations that would extract every valuable resource from this world. Commander Chen, bloodied but unbroken in her improvised prison cell, received fragmentary reports from the few resistance cells still operating in the wilderness. The aliens were efficient, she had to admit. Their technology was superior, their tactics proven. Humanity's brief moment among the stars was ending. Then the sky caught fire. The first wave materialized without warning. Sleek dreadnoughts that dwarfed even the largest Zephyrian cruisers, their hulls bearing the faded insignia of Earth's defunct military. But these ships moved with inhuman precision, their targeting systems calculating firing solutions faster than any biological mind could process. Admiral Kethvar stared in disbelief as his flagship's sensors registered impossible readings. These vessels were ancient by human standards, yet their technology was centuries beyond anything the Zephyrians possessed. Quantum torpedoes tore through his shields like paper. Singularity cannons warped space itself into weapons of mass destruction. "How many ships?" he demanded, his voice cracking with the first notes of panic. "Admiral, our sensors are detecting thousands, no, tens of thousands. They're still materializing from hyperspace." The human war machine had awakened, and it remembered every lesson learned in 2 centuries of systematic self-destruction. The AI commanding the fleet possessed the accumulated tactical knowledge of humanity's greatest military minds, combined with processing power that could simulate millions of battle scenarios simultaneously. There would be no negotiations, no prisoners. The aliens had attacked human civilians, and the response was coded into the deepest levels of the war machine's programming. Extinction. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When the orbital bombardment ceased, nothing remained of the Zephyrian fleet but expanding clouds of superheated plasma. The occupation force on the ground simply ceased to exist, vaporized by weapons that turned matter directly into energy. Commander Chen emerged from her cell to find her captors gone, reduced to shadows burned into the walls. Above, the ancient human dreadnoughts held perfect formation, their mission complete. As she watched, they began to fade back into hyperspace, returning to their vigil in the dark between stars. Earth's response arrived 6 hours later, a concerned diplomatic inquiry about reported alien contact. By then, New Harmony's colonists were already beginning to rebuild, protected once again by guardians they had never known existed. In the depths of space, the von Neumann constructors settled back into hibernation, their factories quiet but ready. The human species might have evolved beyond its violent past, but the universe was vast and often hostile, and humanity's war machines were patient, eternal, and utterly without mercy for those who threatened their creator's children.